All right, hi guys. So we're going to look over complex sentences, and I know this looks really simplistic right now because it actually is a pretty simplistic uh, way to create some depth and syntax variety in your writing. So complex sentences are really just two parts. They have a dependent clause and an independent clause. Now, independent, we know, means can rely on their own. They don't need anybody else. Like independent, strong woman doesn't need anybody else. They're good on their own. Dependent means that they do lean on something else, right? So dependent clauses have to have something else in order for them to be complete sentences. For instance, we looked at AAAWWUBBIS the other day. If I start, let's say my first example with um, after I left Walmart, right, there's my AAAWWUBBIS, which hints that I have a dependent clause. Dependent clause meaning I can't just leave this alone. After I left Walmart is not a complete sentence. If I just walked up to you in the hallway and said, after I left Walmart, and then walked off, you think I was a crazy person because I didn't finish my story. So, what do I need? We know a comma. How can I finish that? After I left Walmart, I went to the movies, right? So my dependent clause after I left Walmart needed the rest of the story. It needed an independent clause, which is a complete sentence on its own. I went to the movies. I went to the movies is a complete independent clause, complete sentence. When I add these two together, they make a complex sentence, right? Now, we could also change this up and I could start with my independent clause. I went to the movies, or when? After I left Walmart, right? Now, where does the comma go there? Well, there's no need for a comma because I started with my independent clause, right? So when we start with our independent clause and our AAAWWUBBIS is in the middle here, I don't need a comma because it just finishes out that story. It runs a little bit more smoothly, right? So complex sentences have two parts. They have a dependent clause and an independent clause, and you should play around with it, put it into your writing, and see how much more interesting your writing becomes once you start including these kinds of sentences.